Welcome back to the channel. So I want to discuss a trade idea that just popped up on my screen right now. I did get into this trade probably in the last 10 minutes. I'm going to share it with you guys here, which is in the stock path. So they did report earnings last evening. And as you can see here, earnings comes out, chops around a little bit, conference call begins, and that's when we begin seeing the leg lower. It pretty much trades, a few percent points under most of the overnight session, and then it really craters here before the opening bell, before we saw this massive V shape. Now, this is what we normally want to see when it comes to an earnings failure. Again, an earnings failure being clearly earnings was not great. That's why the stock was down overnight. It was a mixed bag. Guidance was below estimates. So clearly it wasn't great. But come when the cash session opens up, as you guys can see here, we see this massive reversal, right? So that can give us some input here. Hey, maybe action towards the short side is a little bit exhausted because even with further bad news, we can't see lower prices. That is the reason why I just went long into the stock at around $11.60, maybe 62 cents exactly. Let's be honest here, this is not a great looking chart. Look at it. It's done nothing now for the last couple of years. It had a massive boom during the whole COVID craze, right? I mean, is that actually where it just... yeah, I guess it must have... correct me if I'm wrong here. It looks like it might have just IPO'd up here somewhere or something. And it absolutely just crashed and has done nothing. They've been one of the other software stocks that struggled with the whole AI narrative taking over the market here because they are a software company, and the market simply believes that whatever they have to offer companies, it might simply get replaced quite simply with AI tools and so forth. So it's not great. It's not a great looking chart. It's not one of my first picks in terms of trying to get into a trend here. I'm much rather prefer these earnings failures to occur on stocks. In this case, if we're going long on a stock that's in an uptrend. In this case, we're at a stock here that is just trending waters for the most part, right? 3 years now, we've just been hanging out at this $10 figure here. And either way, that doesn't take away from the fact that we did see this move overnight. And what's interesting about the move overnight, well, not the move overnight, what's interesting altogether is the fact that the stock, yes, carries a lot of short interest. This is not normally something that I look at, but if there's really no trend or the trend is very poor in the stock and I'm trying to go long of it, and if I am seeing an earnings failure occur, it does help to see that, okay, the short interest is pretty high, at least from the last time that it was being reported, right, from May 15th. You could see it pretty much just sits here. Actually, interestingly enough, look at this. This is interesting. It sat way lower, right, at the beginning of the year, and then it really began to go up. Look at this. Right, so it really began to get shorted up to date, while it usually would sit in the teens. Look at this, actually. Well, this is really going back here, right? So this almost does point to the fact that, okay, you know what, like, investors really believe that AI is just simply going to hold this company down. And truth be said, yeah, they're probably right about it. The company themselves just brought down guidance, right? But I guess what's interesting about it, though, is that the stock price, it's not like sometimes you see a company like Upstart, for example. That's another company that likes to be shorted 20, 30%. Normally, as Upstart starts to go up in price, you see the short interest go up as people try to, get a better price in their shorts. We've actually seen Path here go down in price over the course of this first 2 quarters, and short interest actually go up. Now, I bring all of this up to say that, hey, we might see a short squeeze here, okay? This is not this is not an investment we're making for the next few months or for the next years. We're just trying to say, you know what? Because of this reversal today off the back of poor earnings, we might have a little bit of a short squeeze here. Where it goes, who knows, right? If we're lucky, right? If we're lucky, maybe we see $18 figure, but I'm not going to count on it. But the point being, we are seeing some action here with today's candle that can point to the fact that maybe we do have a short squeeze brewing. When we look back here, things that could look better to me, let's say, if I'm looking for a short squeeze, I would have preferred for the days to cover to be a little higher than this. Because this kind of shows us, sometimes this number here is more important than this number here, because this kind of shows us how difficult it is for those who've shorted shares to exit their shares without having too much of an impact on the market. Right now, with the volume of, does it hold an average volume on this page for us? Does it tell us? I'm guessing it's got to be an average here, but it was like 30 million, right? 30 million a day. Yeah, so it's telling us, listen, if the shorts were all of that volume, it would take them 4 days to cover. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. It could be better, right? I've sometimes seen stocks where it's like 8, 9 days, right? Usually that's because the volume on a stock has really thinned out, which is not what we're seeing here, right? Notice how PAF used to have way less volume at times. Stock was probably a little more expensive though. But you could see how, yeah, the volume used to be a little thinner for sure. Now it's going up a little bit more. Obviously, the more volume, the more activity there is, the easier it is for people that are short the stock to essentially get in and out without having too much of an impact on the stock. Like yesterday, for example, what was this? At the peak here, right? That's 85 million was traded. The stock actually went up here. We could be looking at a little bit of a mini squeeze here. It's also interesting to know that very often stocks like this that carry very high short interest, they usually move in contrast to the general market. They almost carry like a negative beta because people, they usually short the weakest stocks and they go long the strongest stocks. At least that's what institutional investors tend to do. So when these same investors maybe are trying to unwind their positions from the market and just maybe raise a bit more cash, they cover their shorts and they exit their longs. So we could be seeing some form of that if we see some downside in the markets coming up here. I mean, markets are still trading at all-time highs here, so it's worth knowing that. So I feel like, I guess why I say all of this is I almost believe that for there to really be a higher move up on PAF right now, we almost need to see SPX have a little bit of a down draw here. I think if we pick up something like, if we look at IGF, a software name here, up massively. Look at that. Whew. Up 4.5%. I mean, you guys know software, again, it's been absolutely killed this whole year, PAF included, because of the whole AI narrative here. And it's also super strong today, super strong yesterday. Granted, the SPX also went up yesterday. But a lot of names within IGF also are carrying a higher short interest because of the whole AI scare. So I do expect, for example, the markets pull back. I do expect some volume to come back, some buying pressure to come back into IGF, and we might be seeing the same happening with PAF here. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I mean, as we've been having this conversation, it has continued to move up a little bit here. As you guys can see, it can continue to squeeze. I thought this was just interesting to share. Again, I normally never mess around with these high interest stocks unless I'm seeing some sort of reversal of really just clearly bad earnings, which is what we're seeing today. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. Like this video if you want to see more content such as this one. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching.